for us. And especially now with COVID-19, we are not having as much of an issue as some other people, which is super sad for the people who are having the issue. But for us, we're just thriving. And we want to give you that opportunity to also thrive in this time of strange happenings with COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So once Jen says to me that we're all completely live, some of you might be watching this as a replay. Some of you are going to be on live in a minute. We're all going to be ready to go together, and then we will start the challenge.
Yeah, we are live, so everything is all good.
Okay, so where are we going to see the comments so that we can yeah, we have to check to see the comments here. And okay,
I will be on the other side.
So the first thing, Art Inspired, could you go on as Team Clarke? And then also the other people who are joining, say hi in the chat, put the word live to say that you're here live and where you're from. And it also, if you want to say, are you like new, for like put new as in NEW, sorry, for to tell us that, you know, you're brand new, you have no clue what we're talking about, or you're like already on Zazzle. Which we don't want to say old. What should we say? On Zazzle already, just to give us an idea of how much detail we need in terms of talking about the business, so that you can understand. And this is a place where you can ask questions the entire time that we're doing these challenges all week long. It's going to be super, super fun. We're here at 2 o'clock every day because we want to help you, and we are going to do a little mini challenge every single day. Today's challenge is to find your niche, but we first have to talk about why you would need to find your niche, and that will be explained in a minute as soon as we get some people on and we get them to interact. Anyone who's on, say hello, where you're from, and say if you're new or already know about Zazzle, so that we can help you talk about that a little bit more in detail. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm just sending out emails in the back end to invite our list to the people who joined to sign up, or who signed up to join the challenge, and then we'll get started. So,
yeah, we're usually pretty quick to be on time. So the fact that it's already a little bit later was just a little bit of getting online and being live. So that's okay. We'll just go a little longer in the back end. But we are here for about a half an hour, 40 minutes to talk to you about our Start Your E-commerce Online Business Challenge, and it's day one. So if it's all right with you, we can start, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Terry, you're on. Hello, welcome. And Vanny is on. Awesome. And we've got Team Clarke on. Team Clarke is not just Jen and I. We have Annette, or Art Inspired, who is our community manager. She manages all of our Facebook groups, private and public, and she is a whiz at knowing everything there is to know about our courses and our students and where to find things, a Zazzle resource. She is awesome. And so she's on as Team Clarke answering your questions, and that's going to help us if we're on the slideshow and can't actually see the chat. She'll be able to answer those questions while we're going on the screen share. Hello, Maria, and you're relatively new to Zazzle. Welcome. And you have a messed up Zazzle store. I'm assuming that's what you said, Terry. Yeah, we've had a look at your store already, and definitely some of the things that we taught you in the last one will probably already benefit from you. But the thing that we want to do today is give you another chance to have a look at things and to reassess things. Every time you learn something, you learn more, even though it may or may not be the same thing you heard before. It takes a while to sink into some people, including myself. And so we love repeating things and helping you out so that you get everything you need to learn how to do this. Even some of our students who have gone through some of our programs love refreshers because there's always something that they learn from us. We always give a lot of value and information, and we're here to help. Okay, so while Jen is telling everyone on the back end to come in, hello, Catalin, nice to see you. And Vanny is here too, nice to see you as well. And there's a couple more people on who are not saying anything, so welcome. We don't know who you are, but we like being here as a community and talking with each other. So if you were not too shy, put in your name and we will see who's on and the chats. And I just went out of the chat by accident here, but that's okay. We are good to go. All right. And Carolyn's on. Awesome. Okay, so day one, let's get started. We are going to share the screen in a minute. Oops, I have to share the screen first and then go into this. Oops. Lots of buttons in the back here to try and get everything to go on. Okay, and we are live and ready to go.
Awesome.
So today is day one of every day at 2 o'clock. We will be here and streaming live. You can ask questions, you can be part of the challenges. You can just listen in. If it's something you already know how to do, you always learn something. And so today, our first is to find your perfect online business and decide on your niche. And some of you already know what the answer is to the perfect online business, but that's okay. We will be talking to you in a way that maybe makes you understand how significant it is that you made that choice to be on this business. So first of all, we're Elke and Jen. And just for a minute, Jen's going to look up and we're going to talk to you for a second and introduce ourselves. Some fun facts about us that we both actually have a lot of similarities in terms of what we like. So we both like romantic girly movies. We love traveling, love cooking, especially, well, and Jen likes cooking more than I do because I like the eating part better. And yeah, so I'm more than happy to let her cook. She comes up with some amazing dishes, especially now that we're in self-isolation and we're like rationing our food to make sure it lasts. It's crazy, but yeah, we're coming up with all these inventive recipes. I think we're going to start a cookbook.
Yeah.
We've already talked about it. Okay, we love having hot chocolate and just chatting. And if you can add a puzzle in there, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Because then we get totally distracted and it's like 10 hours later, we're still doing the puzzle. Okay, but we also love being our own bosses. We've both had experiences in the workforce. We have said no to that with definitive no's and like tried it, didn't like it, wanted to figure out something on our own. 10 years ago, we did that. We found a certain business after trying lots and lots. I kept saying, like, I have this binder about this thick with all my logins and all the stuff that I did. And it's there to remind me that I tried a lot of things before I tried this one business I'm going to talk about, where I did get some measure of success to start with. And then I realized I needed help figuring out how to actually make it work. And that's where we come in right now, is to help you figure out what you need in those essential steps to make it work to start with. And of course, there's more to that. And we're going to talk about that as well when we get into the rest of the training over the week. We have obviously some courses that we also can offer you, but this training is free and we're going to get you started. We love working online because we get to set our own hours. Sometimes we don't work for days. Other times we work like crazy 12 hours just because we like it. But if we had to look at how much it takes to maintain, like for example, my 6-figure online business, it would be about 4 to 10 hours a month. And so that took some time to get there. But in the meantime, it was fun getting there. And then now it's in maintenance mode. If I want to make more, I just hustle down and add more hours and do my 5 strategies, which are the things that really work for us to make that money online through this online business. And we love cutting our own paychecks. Sometimes, we decide to cut our paycheck with the amount that we make. Other times we leave it in the business. And if you are serious about this, it's not just a hobby, you want to have this as your salary and income in your long-time business, then you have to treat it like a business, right? And sometimes you actually invest money in the company, which means in this case you, to do training or to increase your ability to work online, get a better computer, that kind of thing. But for us, there isn't a lot of expenses that go along with this business that we're going to talk about. So let's tell you what it is that we're going to say in day one. First of all, Zazzle is what we're going to talk about, and I want you to understand what that is if you don't. Why is Zazzle your best e-commerce choice? And also the 2 ways that you can make money. Actually, there's 3, but 2 main ones. And the third is just like a combination of the 2. And we're going to cover that first essential step, because that's what this is all about, the 3 essential steps that you need to start your Zazzle business with clarity and confidence. And so step number 1 is decide your niche. So we're going to do a little bit of a group interaction here, because every single day we're not talking to you at you. We're going to work with you to get you started with the 3 essential steps so that you can start your Zazzle business. I noticed a lot of people I recognize, so that you have already started your Zazzle business, but for the newbies, this is key that you are interactive and doing each of the challenges every day so that you can get the most out of this. And what is Zazzle to the customer is the first thing that we're going to talk about. Well, first of all, if you're a customer and you're just coming on browsing the internet, you'll realize that Zazzle is a shopping place. Like, it's something we can go onto online and you can buy really pretty products. So, but in the back end, what happens is it's a business model called the print on demand, which means it's a really good company to be viable and stable at this point in time when COVID-19 is happening and the economy is crashing, because they don't have a lot of inventory. They have blanks. So they don't have to get rid of inventory that they bought that was already done and made up. They just have the blanks of that inventory. And then virtually our designs, and I'll get into that in a minute, are then put on those only once the customer buys the product. And so it's very economical, very business savvy. It reduces the company's risk of, in downturns like this. So everything is good in terms of the business model. Plus, there's a couple of other things that are really key to us as business owners who want to invest in our time and effort into a company that we're going to use as our business platform, right? And so for me, looking at it and seeing that it wasn't traded on the stock market, it's actually family owned, which means it's private, means you don't get to hear much about it, but it also means that they're not in any way tied to trying to perform so that the stock market price is good for the company. And therefore, they don't have to deal with all the stuff that's happening in the economy right now. They can make decisions based on what they think they need to do to keep their company afloat. And they don't have to, do crazy things like Cafe Press did, for example, if you're any way familiar with that. They're based in Redwood, California. They have manufacturing throughout the world. They can service people all through the world in terms of sending the product to customers everywhere. And also they have international websites in different languages, and it's a unique customizable, it's a unique shopping site where you can customize the products as a customer, which is so different than any other online shopping site out there. And the only one that's coming close is the competitor, which has much more to do to get there, and that is Cafe Press. And if I say Cafe Press to anyone who's already been on Zazzle, their back goes up, because that is something that most people got burned at Cafe Press, but they never got burned on Zazzle. So that's really important. And yeah, for anyone who's on and has tried that, you can let us know in the chat how you feel about each one. But Zazzle takes care of us as the designers, and that I'm going to get into that in a bit more in the next slide. But first, I'm going to show you on their website. This is just a screenshot that I took a couple of days ago. And it changes every single day. They always focus on a whole bunch of things, including artwork, photography. They have lots of different products. Go to Zazzle.com if you've yet to go there and find out what it's all about in terms of what they sell, how it looks, what they're up to in terms of helping the customer purchase things, even in this time of need. Like, there's a whole bunch of options that they've set in place to help people who are now having trouble with purchasing things. They're putting sales into place, they're putting options into place. Zazzle knows how to adapt to make sure that we as the designers are taken care of so that we can keep selling. And that's so key in this environment, which of course is not so secure for other people. And even Amazon is having trouble. The people who are doing the affiliate on Amazon have just been told that they are not going to be able to make as much commission. And that has not happened with Zazzle. Zazzle is secure. There's nothing going on. In fact, it's increasing its ability for us to sell things like masks in this time, which is fantastic. All of our students are just having absolute mind-blowing sales with masks, for example. Okay, so what does it mean for you if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get started on a business on Zazzle? Um, that's what I'm trying to convince you of, is that it should be Zazzle that you should do this business on, not just any other business. But we'll talk more about some other options and see why they're not so great in a minute. But right now, Zazzle for us and for you means that there's a proven platform out there. There's over 1 million designers and store owners on Zazzle making money right now, including Jennifer and I, and lots of our students, thousands of our students, as well as like many, many others who have been on there for years and years and years, some of whom have made money and they're becoming like as successful as I am. It's just that they're not showcasing it and not telling the world like we are. And there's others who have made nothing, and they've all had the same opportunity. So here's the thing. The difference is you have to have a proven strategy, and I'll talk more about that later. But there are so many people on there that it's not like it just started up, or there's there's things that have to be tried out. That happened when Jennifer and I first started, because they were still in beta launch when I first started. And it was kind of scary because I wasn't sure if they were going to be a long-term thing. And I was putting a lot of effort and time into that. And I didn't know, right, if it would work out, but it did. And it's very solid. They've been around, as I said, since 2005. It's awesome, and they're not going anywhere. They're actually continuing to improve their structure so that we can continue as designers to make money on this platform. So, and that's number two. It's very innovative. They're continually updating the site. That gives you the feeling that you have a future with them, as well as that they've already been around for a long time, and they've proven to themselves that they're a proven model to use as an online business platform. So the owners are also focused on working with the designers, which means that they show their company loyalty to the designers, who you and I are. And also they have a lot of traffic. So if you wanted to do this online business on yourself, by yourself, you'd have to do a lot of work to get 10 million visitors a day, or like a month, to buy online on your website. So for me, I look at it as an opportunity. I don't have to do all these different things. I don't have to pay for Facebook ads. I don't have to set up a website. I don't have to do anything. I just put my products up on Zazzle and things start to sell. So that's what I want you to understand, that there's so many benefits, and I'm taking away all of the things that might be issues for you and showing you that those are not issues, right? And so why is this Zazzle business the most opportune choice, the best one really, for you to start an online business quickly? If you're here and you're new, you don't know who we are, and you've just found out that Zazzle is a thing, then what I want you to understand is what exactly happens in the process of the making money part, right? You're trying to figure out an online business. Everyone's going, I need an online business. I need an online business. And everybody in there, like every single person on the planet is saying, I have the perfect plan. But then they say, well, I've made millions of dollars doing this. And yeah, Jennifer and I have made millions of dollars doing this too. Like we've sold millions of dollars and we've taken home 1.5 million. But what is really interesting is, when you dive deeper into what that business opportunity is, you realize that a lot of these other options that people tell you, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen all aligned together even before you start making money, and you have to do a lot of investing in that company to set it up. So here in Zazzle, you can start today. But we're going to teach you how to start tomorrow if you don't know yet. So we'll teach you that and we'll get you started tomorrow. And it's free. And what you do is you set up a Zazzle store, which is a virtual store. It's online. And you post products online for free. So basically, you're bringing your art, your graphic designs, your photography, and any ideas that you have that are not someone else's copyright. You can post them on thousands and thousands of products, and you post them in your store for sale. And then you do a lot more stuff in terms of like marketing and showing people that you have these things for sale in your store. But what we like to do is we like to make sure that it's all done properly, and then we don't actually have to do a lot of promoting. And we teach that in our courses. The other things that have to happen to make a sale, right? Because you've posted these products, what the heck now happens is somebody has to buy it, then that somebody has to get it made and shipped, and the person has to be billed, and the company has to have customer service. And usually that's all you, right? Like if you're starting an online business or even a brick and mortar business, you have to deal with all of these things. And Zazzle does that all for us. So Zazzle sources the products to sell. Zazzle prints and ships the product. Zazzle bills the customer. Zazzle deals with customer service. They maintain an international website with 10 million visitors a month. Zazzle promotes. They pay for ads to even be promoted on Google and everywhere else. And Zazzle pays you a royalty. So wait a minute, what happened there? All of a sudden, like Zazzle, 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 and then I heard pay. Well, yeah, they also pay you out monthly if you meet the limit or minimum, then you get a monthly check of all of the things that you have sold. You get a royalty for those. And the royalty can be anywhere from 5 to 99%. We'll talk a little bit more about what we suggest as a good royalty so you don't price yourself out of the market, but you also can make money as an affiliate. And so that's like another bonus, and you can put those two together. So ultimately you can actually make about 45% off of a sale of your own design. And as Jennifer and I said before, there's not too much in terms of investment in doing a Zazzle business. You need internet, you need your computer, you may pay for a few graphics, you may have your own graphics, you may involve yourself, like get trained in more business skills by taking courses, but a lot of the profit comes right into your pocket, and that is awesome too. And for us, it's typically 85 to 90% of what we make is profit, which we get to pay ourselves, right? Okay, so what about some other companies that are online that you may have already like seen when you Googled what's the best online business to start? And you might have heard Amazon. Well, Amazon has a lot of different options for you to make money through their programs, like also the affiliate. But right now, the affiliate program, they've just said that many of the commissions are now a lot lower, like reduced by a third. Like if it was 3%, it's now 1%. If it was 5%, it's now 2% or something crazy like that. And that's huge. And you don't want to lose that after paying a lot of ads to drive traffic there, because now your profits are less, right? And also if you're like doing Amazon merch, for example, then you have to hit certain sales quotas. You have to source products if you're doing direct shipping, and you have to even maybe get involved with shipping if you're not doing direct shipping. You have to deal with customers and do customer service and all their customer ratings. And if your customer ratings aren't that great, then you move down the ranks with your seller status, and you have to drive traffic to your store if you're using like a website or something to drive it to the Amazon store that you have. All of those things are negatives for Amazon. What about Shopify? Because we hear a lot about Shopify. In fact, that's the thing. We hear about all of these things that I'm going to talk about, Amazon, Shopify, and two others, but we never hear about Zazzle. Zazzle is the best kept secret in the world, and it has the most advantages to starting an online business. It has the least barriers, it has the least costs, it has the least things. All of the things you have to do on Zazzle, you would still need to do on all of these other stores, plus all of these negatives that we are showcasing here. So it's just a no-brainer to get started on Zazzle. Shopify, let's go through the negatives. If you haven't heard about Shopify, it's a store where you create your own store. You set up a website. Shopify is the platform. They make it as easy as possible, but you still have to create your own website and store if you're not good at that, and you can't like add all the products, and like you're basically doing what Zazzle is already, and you have to create your own shopping site. And then you have to figure out what you're going to sell. And so you have to source the products, you have to figure out shipping, you have to figure out customer service, and you have to drive traffic to your store. And so I don't like that, because we don't need to do that on Zazzle for sure. There's things that you can do to accentuate driving traffic to your store, and we teach that in our Profit by Design Academy. But it's not. Jennifer and I have never paid for ads. We have always done organic creating organic traffic. And that's what we teach in our Profit by Design Academy. Okay, what's next? Etsy negatives. If anyone's heard about Etsy, same sort of thing. including, in this case, making your own physical products. You might have some digital products to sell, and then I would actually recommend Etsy for that, but it still has to deal with customer service, customer ratings, billing, and shipping if you have a physical product, and driving traffic to your store. So it's the second in line that I would suggest after Zazzle, but it's not nearly as lucrative because you have to come up with the products, right? And whereas Zazzle sources products all the time, they make the agreements and they just say, oh, we have a new product, you can sell this. And it's like, awesome, didn't have to do a thing of work, I just have to put my design up on that product. What about Redbubble? Again, same sort of thing about no customized, there's actually a couple of things here that are similar to Zazzle in terms of benefits, but the problem is that they have a limited selection of products. There's no customization option, and it's not really something for photographers. It's very much like you can see on their homepage website, which I took a screenshot of. It's more for people who are amazing graphic designers who have their own artwork that they can put up there just as like an image. And that's really important because it really limits how you can create a product. It's basically, you're just driving people there if they like your design or pattern, not because they want to do something that's a customizable-ish like product. And that on Zazzle makes Zazzle's options for you to sell in so many different niches so much more lucrative for us as designers. So those are my negatives for the other sites. So let's move into, and actually maybe should we stop for a minute to see how everyone's doing? I was just getting into, I'm just in love with Zazzle, obviously, because we've had such success with it year after year, and it's really transformed our lives. So let's have a look here to see if there's any questions.
I've been in and I've said, say hi and where you're from. There are lots of people online, but we're a bit quiet today. You're just saying a lot of really great information, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then we keep going. Awesome. So let's screen share one more time. We want to get to the niche. I bet you everyone's going to start talking when we get to the niche.
And the whole point about this challenge is to be interactive and to get everybody, talking and brainstorming about things. That's why it's called a challenge. So we're here to help you out. So if you have any questions or ideas, or you just want to interact, then that's what this is here for.
And also for all of the people who are already in our Profit by Design Academy or e-commerce accelerator courses. The e-commerce is more for beginners and people who are on a budget, who want to just know the basics, and the Profit by Design Academy is for those people that want to start and scale their business to 5K months. What does that mean? That means like consistently making $5,000 take home from Zazzle every month. And so that's the Profit by Design Academy. If that's what your aim is, then you should be in that training. And for anyone who's in any of those, for just as an extra challenge for our students, why don't you go through this again and use it to redefine your niche or reassess to see if your niche that you're currently in is not is or isn't functioning for you in this time, especially with COVID-19. Okay, so 2 ways to make money on Zazzle. I promised you that I would tell you this, so let's get into it. One of them is, and I mentioned it slightly already, that you can earn a royalty. And the royalty is something that you basically own you own the designs that you put on there. Even if you make them on Zazzle, they are still yours. It's not like, you're working for a company and you invent the light bulb and then the company owns that. No, you are your own business on Zazzle, and you're allowing Zazzle to license the product designs from you. And then when you approach the product, it says, what's your royalty for this particular design? And you can choose something from 5 to 99% as your option. And then when your design sells on that particular product or even some other product, then you get a payout from Zazzle because they're the ones that are making the rest of the money. And then you are obviously also need to be benefited or paid out for that. So that's, as you're a designer, you can make a royalty. As an associate, which is what they call it, really is affiliate, then you can make a referral. And I love that because you can do one or the other, or you can do both. A referral, if you're just doing referrals and you're not a designer, then you can make 15% of anything that Zazzle has to sell on Zazzle. You could refer our products. You can refer anybody's products that you know are already making a lot of money and selling, because then you'll also have the higher upper hand that you can also make money doing this, right? You just have to bring more traffic. You have the traffic, and what that means is you have the people who you can connect with, like through email or through Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram, and you send them to Zazzle, and then you make an affiliate commission. And if you, it also says 35% there. So here's the thing, if you are a designer and you promote your own product, then you can actually make the 35% affiliate as well if it sells. And I love that because that gives you almost 50% of a commission payout for that one sale, right? And that's a huge way of multiplying your income very quickly. Okay, so here's an example. If you're selling your own product, you can make up to 45%, which means if I set my royalty at about 10%, which is something I recommend, somewhere between 10 and 15%, and you have a 35% royalty using what the Zazzle now calls the promoter program. I have a wonderful blog post that I can show you, or we can put the link in the chat so you can go and check that out. You can be part of that. And then if you sell your own product, you can make 45%, right? And then if you are selling some or promoting some other product from another seller, including brand names like Disney and Marvel and you name it, right? Zazzle has brand deals with these companies, and all you have to do is, like, if you're a lover of anything to do with Disney and you have like 1,000 people on your email list or your Facebook group that loves Disney too, you can just post some links in there every so often as an affiliate of Zazzle, and you can make 15% off of anything they buy. And it's so fun because it's actually 15% of anything that the customer buys, even if it's not the item that you just sent the customer to with the link. So it's really fun. Range of products, prices. Well, right now there's like the products range somewhere between $10 to $150. So just like now you can do the math and you can say, and did I actually do the math for you? No. So the math could be, look, if you sold something for $10 and you make 45%, that means you made $4.50, right? What if you made almost 50% of 150? That's $75. And that's one sale. And these things are happening to us right now, especially with this promoter program. It's awesome. And you have the opportunity to make quite a bit of money right off the bat with just certain sales. Of course, if you want to get to 5K a month, which is what I talked about with my Profit by Design Academy, then you have to do a lot more of those. But it certainly feels nice when you start to get these sales one-off where you go, oh, I made $30. Oh, I made $80. It's like, awesome. And the lovely thing is that these emails come in and it says, oh, you sold this. Or you can go to your back end and the back end on Zazzle in your account, and you can see what you've earned. But I love watching the emails come in and go, you sold a product? And it's like, yay. And then it's like, how much did I make? Oh, that's so nice. And it doesn't matter if it's like $1 or if it's like $80. Every sale is an accumulation of my monthly worth of what I'm going to be getting as a take home. And I love that. Okay, so here are the two options for you to start an online business. And if you want to make it work on Zazzle specifically, one of them is DIY, right? Figure it out on your own. You might waste time and you might be uncertain as to what actions to take to make it work for you. The other is to get help. So following a proven plan would save you time, would give you the certainty of what you needed to do next, especially in this time with COVID-19 and the change in the economy. It's not just, you don't have the time and luxury to just get, a couple of dollars here and there. You need to ramp up fast. This has been a proven online business, and many of our students are very successful. So they are following our 5 strategies that we teach in the Profit by Design Academy, and they've made up to at least 5,000 a month. That's why I can say that. If you want to be in this course and your goal is 5,000 a month, then it has already shown to be possible for people who are in this course. There are others who are not, but they're not implementing all the steps. But the people who are definitely doing that. Okay, so that's just to tell you how the money part works and how you could possibly get there. Now we're going to go into the first essential step, because this is part of our training in the Profit by Design Academy. We go into it in a little bit more detail, but here we're going to follow the steps and just get you started on narrowing down what will sell in your Zazzle store. Because if you're here and you want to start, then you're going to have to open up a Zazzle store. And then the next question is, well, what are you going to put in it? And before we open the store, because you have to name the store and you have to have a good name for your store, you can't just go store number 123. You have to start thinking about it as your business. And because of that, the first thing you have to do is, well, if you start a business, what are you going to sell, right? If you say, I'm going to sell bread in a brick and mortar store, and you don't know anything about baking, then you're not going to be very successful. Or if you say, oh, I'm going to start a ladies' lingerie store, and you have no idea anything about, and you're like this manly guy who has nothing to do with anything to do with lady lingerie except for maybe taking it off, the woman, then you have to reassess what you're selling, right? Might be much better at maybe your hunting and fishing that you love to do. And so here's the way that we're going to go through this. We're going to talk about what it is and why you need to have a niche. And you're already kind of getting that right now, because I'm making it really silly. But the point is that we are starting to set up a business for you that's going to be some serious bank that you're going to be making. And you cannot start a business without a good foundation. And the first thing to do is figure out what you're going to sell, which is called your niche, or in some cases in the States, people call it niche, which sounds like an itch or something. It's just, we say niche here in Canada. And so the thing that you need to do is narrow down what you're going to sell in your store, because a store that sells everything will sell nothing. And then you will also, and that's a good quote, we should definitely put that on one of my Instagram accounts.
What did you say?
A store that sells everything will sell nothing. You will base your Zazzle store name on the niches that you want to sell in, right? If you call your store Business 101 or something like that, just for fun, then, and you're starting to sell occasion stuff, or you're selling sports things, then that doesn't make any sense, right? So before we name our store, or before you name your store, because this is a challenge and you're going to do this, then you need to figure out what you're going to sell. Okay, so how do you find this? Because now I've just almost drilled it into you here that you have to figure this out first. So how do you figure it out? Well, let's do this together. So what you're going to do is list your interests and hobbies that you have, and keep this in one post on the chat, okay? And list your creative skills. And then what do you love spending hours on and you know a lot about? And the answer to all three of these are actually all going to be the same, right? Because they're tied together. But you're going to list your interests and hobbies. Then you're going to list your creative skills, and that would be the extra piece. Let's say your hobby was, we have some students who actually have a knitting and crocheting hobby, and then list your creative skills. Well, I'm good at text-based designs, or I'm good at jokes or something like that. And then you could say that your niche would be knitting, and then jokes and humor about knitting, right? So that would be how those two would combine together. And we'll talk more about that once you start to list things in the chat as to what your niches are and your hobbies and interests. What your hobbies and interests are, so we can figure out your niche. And then the last thing, though, is take anything off that you don't love spending hours and hours doing, because guess what? If you do not like it, then you're not going to do the work. And because of that, you won't be successful. You have to do the work. Every single successful company has had a lot of work put behind it, and you're not going to get off easy. You definitely heard me say it takes me maybe 4 hours a month to maintain my 6-figure business, but that doesn't mean that I didn't work my butt off to start off with, and that's what you need to do initially. But see, for me, I had to work my butt off because I had to try so many things, and I failed a lot of them. Before I worked out my 5 strategies that I teach in the Profit by Design Academy, it was tough. Now that I teach that, students are becoming successful within 1 to 2 years and starting to earn that 5 figures consistently. It took me a lot longer, and they don't have to work more than 20 hours a week if they follow my plan to the letter. So even though I'm saying you have to love spending hours and hours of it doing it, you have to also understand that initially you might even have to spend a little bit more time depending on how quickly you want to scale things. So you're going to have to love it. You're not going to have to hate it because positive energy, we are very big believers of positive energy. And we believe that even if you make a product and you're frustrated and you don't really like that product, then it won't sell. If you send that product and design off into the online space with good vibes and energy, it will sell much better and have much better opportunities to sell than if you sent it off begrudgingly. So I want you to now, I'm going to stop the screen share, just take another note to see what this is, and then we're going to do a little bit of an online critique to see what your interests are and your hobbies. List your creative skills and what do you love spending hours on and that you know a lot about. The reason that you also have to know a lot about it is because you have to know your audience, and your audience is your customer, right? And if you are getting into a niche just because it's popular, for example, the wedding niche, which so many people think that you have to be in the wedding niche on Zazzle in order to make money. That is so untrue. But they thought that they needed to be in it, but had no clue, didn't care for it either because it wasn't their thing, which is perfectly fine. And they didn't know enough about it. And so they went into the wedding niche and then they asked me questions like, how come it's not working? And the reason is because you don't know enough about it and you don't like it. It's very clear. It's very clear in the way the designs come across. It's clear in how you present the products in terms of what you make. And so you have to know a lot about it. You have to love doing it, have to have the creative skills and the interests and hobbies. So let's see what people are saying, and then we'll do a bit of a critique and keep an eye on the clock too, because
Elizabeth had a couple of comments. So her first one was that I have a store, but I haven't sold anything really except to a few friends. How do I sell with so many other designs out there?
Okay, so what's your niche?
Yeah.
What's your niche? This is the question we get asked all the time, and I'm really glad that you asked that question, especially because you added that last comment about that there's so many other designs out there. As I said, there's millions and millions of people that are online, and they're not they're maybe not selling as well as we are, but we're still selling, and we are competing with all those people, and so are you, right? So what's the difference? The difference is you're providing a service to a customer that wants your product. What does that mean? It means they have a need for it. They love that they love what you provide as a unique service, and also they know how to find it, and you put it on the products they actually want to buy. And so let's see, Elizabeth has said, I have cute characters that I put on products for kids. Awesome. That's a really great thing to do. If you have products that, and this is where we get into, for example, your more detailed things that we talk about in the Profit by Design Academy. And it takes it back to how much money can you earn? And I talked a little bit about if you sold, one product and you made 50% of that one product, and it was a product that sold for $10, you'd make $5, right? So let's take it one step further. How do you get from a $5 product to $5K a month? Well, you'd have to sell 1,000 products exactly the same way you sold that one product. And if you don't have that volume or those options. Like if you can't sell one product that many times, then what are your other things that are out there that you need to sell in order to make that $5,000 happen, right? So if we work backwards like that, then do you have that many good selling products that sell at least once a month in your store to make that money for you? Or even less than that, like going back further, because you said you're only selling to family and friends, that to me means you're more than likely not even selling, like being found. Your store isn't being found, your products aren't being found. And so that would have a lot to do with titles and tags. And it's something I can't just sort of teach you right here on the spot, but that's what you would probably have issues with. And let's see. If you want to stick around with us for the rest of the challenge and or the challenge we're going to do next week, there will be opportunities for us to have a look at your store and things like that. But the first question is, do I have the volume of products that are definitely desirable products? And if you say yes, then the reason that you might not be selling right now, especially if your designs are cute and desirable, then it means that you have yet to be found in the marketplace online. And that's called organic promotion. And we teach a lot about that in the Profit by Design Academy. It's complex. It kind of works. You have to have a lot of things in place. So it's not something I can just talk about here in 2 seconds. But let's just, the first thing though that I looked at was Zimba Tunes. That might be part of it. Are you known as Zimba Tunes? Do you have an outside following? This is really great. Like Zazzle is a perfect place for artists who want to have Zazzle as their facility, like their printer, so to speak, for all the products. It's really awesome if you can drive traffic right to your store, because that way you can make the 35% the affiliate commission as well as whatever you're charging for your artwork. And so that could be another option for you. We actually give that away as a bonus mini masterclass training as to how to do that. Okay, let's see if is that the only question, or can we go into some hot niches? Because that's the point of today. Elizabeth, I love your question. Can we continue it privately, and or you are part of a challenge, like continue to do the challenge, and we can, I think it's next week on day 1 or 2, we do we look at our stores or product tags, sorry. That's what we look at. Okay. What do we have as questions, or can we start looking at some of the niches? Elizabeth says she's got it. Okay, awesome.
Can start looking at some of the niches.
Okay, I'm going to go backwards because I don't know where. Interests and hobbies are for Christine. Okay, so marketing, research, sewing. Creative skills are making graphics with Canva, sewing from scratch. What do you love doing? Okay, researching. What's researching mean to you, please, Christine? And making stuff with Canva for my daughter and her husband. Okay, what kind of stuff? Is it like occasions? Is it memorabilia? Is it something to do with your sewing hobbies? Yeah, we have a couple of ladies. One of them's quilting, one of them's knitting, one of them's crocheting, and they had to work a little bit harder with our direction to understand how they could profit from that on Zazzle, because it's a very unique niche, but the same could be applied to sewing. And we would love to hear more about that. But yeah, you could work with the sewing, but I don't understand the research part. So if you could give us some more information on that, that might help us to narrow down your niches. And especially, you can make graphics with Canva for sure. Did we check on that to see whether that's okay?
No, you can't use.
Yeah.
You can only use those for promotion.
Okay, so if you make graphics on Canva, you could probably make the same graphics on Zazzle as your own graphics, like text-based graphics and things like that. And then you would definitely be able to sell those. You can't sell the ones on that you made on Canva and put them on Zazzle, because that's a Canva licensed. If you made a text-based design, maybe, but if you use other elements in Canva.
Well, the thing is that Canva has purchased those fonts for their own copyright license. So you can use the same sort of idea that you have on Canva when you're playing around with the graphics and fonts, but use them in the Zazzle Create tool. And the Zazzle Design tool. The Zazzle Design tool has shapes and a lot of fonts that you can use, and you can create some really cool graphics based on just using the fonts and the shapes and lines and circles. So if that is a hobby of yours, maybe that's something that you can use, because I know a lot of people like playing around and creating really cool motivational quotes and sayings, and especially now during this time with coronavirus, people are looking for that positivity, and I've seen a lot of really great things on social media that have come out of, stay positive, you've got this, be happy. So if that's something that you like doing or you enjoy doing, that's definitely a really big niche, and especially becoming much more popular nowadays.
Okay, we've got some side conversations going, which has nothing to do with niche.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? This is free coaching. We charge $500 an hour for group coaching, and this is your free coaching, and you're not taking advantage of it. So I want you to definitely think about your niche, because it could be that you're in the wrong niche right now. So I also saw that Christine has been filling out the comments, and until I see more people talking about their niche. Now, Jolene, you've been a longtime student with us, so I'm going to not deal with your niches. You can ask us separately in the private group. But what I wanted to do is maybe address a little bit more about Elizabeth's issues. Well, first of all, you mentioned that you used Quick Create. That is not advisable whatsoever. Because you're just pummeling, like pummeling is what a good word. You're just basically flooding the market with your designs, and you're not being very specific, and you may not actually be putting your designs on the products properly. So that's the first thing.
And if you're learning, or if you're using Quick Create and you're wondering why you're not selling, I'll plug in the fact that we're going to be teaching more about that in the next coming weeks in this live experience, in terms of scaling your Zazzle business, which is the next step. So right now it's just starting, so we're figuring out the basics. And some of you might be thinking that you already have your idea, and you're got your design set up, you have your products, your stores all set up, and the reason why you're not selling is X, Y, or Z. But actually you need to look back, and you need to start with the foundations of your Zazzle business. And this is why it's so crucial to actually listen and pay attention and really define what your niche is, and why you are even a designer on Zazzle. What are you passionate about? What can you bring the customer or the client? Why are you so special? And every one of us is unique in our own way. And in order for your customers to connect with you and for you to make those sales, you really need to hone in on your niche, and you need to make it solid. So if you're a little bit wishy-washy, or you don't know what's going on, why you're not selling, go back and say, okay, write down on a piece of paper right now and figure out your top niche and why you are selling those things in your store, and if it actually makes sense for you. And then we can move forward. Yeah,
because one of the things that I wanted to do here as well is, when you're telling me what you're interested in and what your niche is, that we have 10 plus, well, between the two of us, we have 20 plus years experience in knowing what sells and what doesn't sell. And so what's important is, if we see, like, for instance, the sewing niche is a small niche. So we would have to work, like the crocheting and all the other niches that were very small and minute. We'd have to work with you a little bit more in detail to help you. It's not as straightforward. You have to work a little harder. That's why I asked, what other niches are you interested in, what the research niche means, because we might have some more options for you other than just the sewing. We can tell already that it's not going to be a big seller on Zazzle. And so we want to help you with your interests and all those criteria that we had, to make sure that you have something that it's a viable option for you as a niche. We'd never ask someone to start a store that we didn't think had potential. We can't make any income claim statements, but we definitely want to make sure that you start out on something that definitely has potential if you make it and put the work into it. So the other thing that Elizabeth said is that so far she's run ads on Facebook to her store and nothing's happened. Okay, first of all, in the user agreement, you cannot actually pay for ads to drive traffic to your store. Just be careful. And then you're wasting your money, because we have never ever paid for a Facebook ad. And we've sold over 150 million. It just seems really weird, but it's just so much. 15 million dollars, I think, altogether in products, and we have yet to have paid for a Facebook ad, which we can't anyway. So it's all organic traffic, and it's the products that you make in the first place as to whether or not people want to buy it. So maybe we will look at Elizabeth's store if there's no other things and see if she's in the right niche to start with. Okay, so yeah, it mind boggles me sometimes, and I don't actually think about it that way. See, well, I'm here because, oh, Christy has a comment.
Chris.
Chris Hardy. And the thing that's interesting is that if you look at it, and especially in times of COVID-19, which is what is happening right now, people are going to buy your product and your design because you are serving them, not because it's an extra thing that they just need in their house, because they're going to be watching their wallets a lot more, but they still will buy. And the people who will buy, you have to serve them in a way more so than ever before. You have to make them happy. You have to make them feel like it's something that they definitely could spend their hard-earned money on. And you have to make it something that's unique. And that's why Zazzle, out of all the businesses out there online, is so unique and the best place to be, because Zazzle allows you as a designer to make it unique. So I bet you, if you were using, Elizabeth, your Quick Create, and you didn't actually add a name or an initial yet to your products, and you just added your graphics, that would be a huge opening up of your market. Yeah, and we'll check your store out in a minute if there are more, not as many niche lists. But if not, then we can talk about this privately. But it's also like it is your niche that's important, right? If your niche is very tiny and people don't understand what your graphics are all about, or your cartoon figures, then, and you don't have a following yet, then whenever a person sees something on Zazzle, they have 3 seconds to decide. And if they can't decide right then that it's something that they love, then they won't buy it. And so we teach so many things that help make that 3 seconds as beneficial to you as possible to get those sales. Okay, so we've got Chris Hardy saying that her interests are collecting quotes, marketing, creative skills, making graphics, idea generating, and you love spending, reading quotes and making graphics. Okay, so Chris, if you're not already doing that, because I know you're on Zazzle already, and you've taken some of our training, if you're not already doing the quotes, then that's definitely your niche. And quotes can be anything and everything, right? It can be motivational, it can be funny, it can be political. It can, as long as you're not using copyrighted quotes from others that are not sellable, then you have like a huge span of options. And as long as you use your own graphics and you add the, you use a lot of text based art design, right? You're putting the words in as a quote that means something, but the key is to make it very beautiful in terms of how the quote looks, in terms of the text, or in terms of the artwork that you add around it, so that people resonate with that. And so tell us now if that's already where you're flourishing in your store or not. But it is definitely a big market on Zazzle. Okay, Maria says, I love creating colorful designs and patterns and also motivational sayings. I don't have a specific character or hobby. Okay, so that's great though. I mean, now we have a lot of different stores on Zazzle. One of them was, for me, a design store where I created patterns and things like that. And I love it. And if that's your forte, that's basically, there's a whole industry out there for people that are doing the, what's it called? It's just sort of lost. It's not flat light. It's the one with spoon flower.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a certain word, but you on Zazzle could be designing material. You could be designing anything like you with the patterns and the designs, depending on, let's narrow it down to what you love. Like what kind of designs do you make? What are they geometric? Do they have little cute animals in them? Are they bold black and white? Are they pastel, sweet? Are they more food-based? Are they cooking? Are they, yeah, let's go into those things. Floral, are they geometric? Are they vintage? Are they, let's keep working with you, Maria. Okay, and let's see. Terry's back. That's right. Yeah, Terry, what are your niche likes? What do you want? Just post here. And got a whole bunch of new people joining. If you haven't didn't watch the first part, now what we're doing is want all of you to post in the chat. We are not going to go too much longer, but we want to do a critique of anyone who's done niche work. We're also going to do a little bit of Q&A at the beginning of tomorrow's 2 p.m. session so that we can continue on with the niche for anyone who had to think about it overnight. That's okay. We also want to catch the people on the replay so that we can find out for sure that we've got as many people covered. If you don't know your niche, you can't figure out the name of your store properly. You're going to end up having to go back or redo work. So you might as well figure out the niche at first. Make sure that the niche has a good chance of succeeding and that you bring the skill sets to that niche to offer something unique and different, and you love doing it so you can do the work. Those are the things. So if you could just post any interests or hobbies that you have, and what is it that you're good at in terms of your skills, like graphic designs or drawing or watercolor, painting, photography, anything that you might be good at in terms of creativity. And listen, if the answer to that is no, there's still options. You can buy graphics online from the others who are here and saying that they know how to make graphics. There's always a way around it if you want to do this business. I purchase graphics, for example, even though I have artwork and all kinds of stuff that I can sell online. Sometimes I just purchase some graphics and it makes life easier. And so, yeah, you can do the same. So post in the chat so that we can go through them. And Terry, definitely want to hear from you.
She says astrology and cats.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Okay, well, believe it or not, but cats are huge.
And so is astrology.
Yeah, and so is astrology. Those would be actually two separate stores unless you can blend cats and astrology together as a story.
Remember we did the critique actually a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
The cat. Yes. So
separate.
Yes.
Is that what it went? Okay, awesome. And let's see. To what I already said, I'm fairly good at Photoshop. I like doing the wedding invitations. I like creating designs for home products of clothing. Basically, I think I have a good eye and nice taste. Awesome.
Well, it sounds then, Liz, that you would have a certain style to your niche. It wouldn't be a specific object or a theme. It would be a style. And that is a perfectly fine niche, so to speak. My store includes most of the things that you're speaking of, but I have a certain style that runs through it. I'm like light and floral and whimsical. And so that might be yours. We have students who are very minimal and modern. We have other students who are very rustic, other students who are very artistic and creative, lots of bold colors and bright, like lots of like in your face colors. So maybe if you have a certain style or a certain medium that you like to work with, or if you like watching reading fashion magazines or home decor blogs and things, what kind of stuff are you more attracted to? Like, what are your interests? And that's perfectly fine as well for any other student or person who's online here. If you're thinking that you don't have a certain specific hobby like knitting or skiing or fishing, that's perfectly okay. All you have to do is think about you as a person, your styles, your hobbies that include certain things. What kind of clothing do you wear? What kind of things are you attracted to most? What is like the design in your home? Are you very minimalistic or are you very eccentric? Do you like lots of bright colors? Do you like black and white? Are you very modern? Are you very vintage? Those things can come through as a certain style and become actually your niche for your store. And then actually for some people, they quite like that because that means that they can include multiple different types of things, as you said, home decor and weddings or celebrations, and fashion like apparel, rather than having a store all about stationery, for example.
Mm-hmm. And that's what Lillian's asking is could you please list some niches other than wedding? Well, we can even go on Zazzle for a minute and have a look at some things. If you're open and have more just a design style that you're bringing to the table, as Jen said, rather than and that's your unique style, that's awesome too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you buy a purse from Kate Spade or from like someone else? It's because she has that style. She also had a brand, which we talk about as well. You have to create your own brand when you're on Zazzle, but you're looking at being somehow different than others, and then people going, "Ooh, I like that," and you have that opportunity on Zazzle to do that. It's fabulous because you can try a whole bunch of things out. You can say, "Okay, for this month, I'm going to be vintage, see what happens." Like you can even go crazy in this one store and just say, I've made up stores, like I've said, Elke Clarke Designs, that's one of my stores, and in there I get to have fun. I get to decide, do I feel like putting floral designs out there? Do I feel like being in the wedding niche right now, or do I want to be in the birthdays or occasions, or do I want to be dealing with all the things that are sports related, which I love, and business, and also clothing, right? And you can have fun. You can even make up your own clothing line in Zazzle. Zazzle has so many different types of clothing, and you can just then start to say, hey, I'm going to be a clothing store in the store that you set up. And you can set up more than one store, which is awesome as well. But what we recommend is start with one. Don't spread yourself too thin. Even us who are seasoned designers, we have trouble maintaining a lot more than like 2 or 3 stores that really do bring it to the high level earnings. Otherwise, you're just basically creating like a store that has a couple dollars here and there, which is not so helpful. It's better to work on something that is really working for you and ramp that up and scale that up. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else have we got here? Yes, Maria says bold colors mostly and vary with inspiration around me. Awesome. Well, that's the thing that you have to then use that and be consistent with it. That's what we're asking you to do, though, is figure out, if you say, okay, like I'm an all-around store, then your name would be something like Elke Clarke Designs. If you're something more specific, like a wedding store or a sports store or a business store, then you would have a name for your store that would be more related to that. But if you say, oh, that limits me because I also like quotes and funny jokes, then there would be this discussion that we would have, and that's what we want to have tomorrow, is this discussion of like, okay, I've come up with this niche and this niche. Do they fit together? Do I put them in one store? And do I have a more generic name, or do I have a store that's actually specifically named for that niche, because that'll be on its own as profitable and lucrative as me having them all as categories in my one store, right? What else am I missing? There's some flurry of activity, which is awesome. So I hope I'm not missing anybody's stuff.
Liz says, thank you, Jen, sort of because I like different styles. That's why I said at the beginning, go back to really like, what's at your core? What do you feel interested in? And maybe a lot of us feel this certain pressure to come up with a brand or a specific niche because we're selling something. Because that's what I felt at the beginning when I opened up my first Zazzle store. I was worried about if people are going to like what I'm selling. So I kind of went back and forth between so many different ideas that I thought would be popular for other people, but I never really was focusing on what I was interested in at my core, because in the end, that's what you bring out. That's who your personality is, and that's 100% you. So your clients and your customers are going to resonate with that, because I can start to try and design something that's very outside my comfort zone, but the end product is never going to be as good as whatever I'm actually very talented at within where I like, where I feel comfortable. We always tell people go outside your comfort zone and learn and always expand and become this like better version of yourself. But when it comes to setting up your store and actually providing the best service that you can for your customers, you have to figure out what is it, like what are
What's
you?
at your core, right?
What's at your core, right? And so that's why today is the first day of the challenge, and this is why the topic is so important, because it all really resonates, like it all expands from here. So if you've already set up your store and have actually looked at Elizabeth's store, your store is great in terms of the content that you have, but you have a lot of other things that you need to build off of. And I can definitely see that you've got your cartoons, like they're super cute and they're lovely, and you've got a great base, but now you have to move forward and figure out, is this like, what else do I build onto this? How do I make the customer feel comfortable buying? Because you have some awesome content, but maybe, and the things that we're going to cover tomorrow and the next day and throughout this week are really going to help you out, because this is setting up your store properly and branding. And
yeah,
but
that's going to be next week,
for
right?
people who aren't like Elizabeth, because she seems to have a really clear vision on her cartoons and she's got it all set. If you're worried about where you go from the beginning, or if you already have a store on Zazzle but you're not really seeing the sales, or you don't feel comfortable with what you're making, it's because there isn't something aligned with who you are at your core. And that's why I said take out a piece of paper and start like brainstorming, just a brain dump of what are you interested in, what kind of clothing do you wear, what kind of like home decor do you have, are you minimalistic, what are you attracted to, are you an introvert or an extrovert, do you like quotes, do you like, you know, big flashy type of, like, are you big into hip hop music, are you whatever it may be, just like who are you? Like if I read that piece of paper, I could understand who you are and what you are as a person at your core. And then we can move on from there, because you're obviously interested in specific things and you're going to attract that type of customer as well. I don't attract males who like skateboarding because I have no idea how to skateboard and I'm not a man. So you have to really resonate with your client, right? And I think sometimes as well, people think working on Zazzle isn't the same as working at a real shop because it's virtual, but the interaction between the actual provider, you as a designer, as a store owner, and a business owner is the same interaction that you have with a customer if somebody was to walk into a physical store to buy a pair of jeans or a shirt, right? They need to feel comfortable. They need to buy something because it's based on their style. They're not going to buy a leather jacket when it's a woman who's looking for a cocktail dress, right? So you have to think about who are you going to provide and serve, and what can you do to do it your best?
Yeah, and what I want to say is when new people come onto Zazzle and they see the Zazzle homepage and they look to see maybe what people have been doing in terms of how they became successful, then they might get a jaded version of what it is that's possible. For example, most of my popular selling products have actually never ever been featured on the Zazzle homepage, but they still sell. And that's really important. We comment all the time about all of our wonderful students who get that exposure on the Zazzle homepage, and it helps them for sure. But it does not mean that whatever Zazzle is showcasing on the homepage is the only thing that's selling. That's the really important part. And you can make money even if you're not as visible in terms of your designs or your store. There's a market for you out there because you're unique and you're using Zazzle as a fulfillment center. If you are using and if you want to actually compete in some of the areas that are always the most visible on Zazzle, that Zazzle is promoting or whatnot, then it's a lot more difficult to get that market share. But there are so many people in our courses that are making money with things that have never been posted on the Zazzle homepage or in their marketing emails. And you would think, okay, well, maybe they're not selling, but they are. And I think that's really important to remember is you're not trying to go in, like you can't look at this as a competition. You can't look at this as you have to have a niche that you see other people selling. You have to, as Jen said, bring it from your heart and from your soul as to what it is that you're going to offer that's unique and different. And customers come to Zazzle because they're looking for something unique and different. And so therefore, that's what you need to offer them when you get there. When they get there, they want to search around. And it is actually quite easy to search around. And as long as you've got your product set up properly, I think in terms of Elizabeth's case, we're probably looking at a lot of title and tag description issues,
And the
right?
store setup in terms of, I just quickly glanced at it. So it's a really great base, but you have to work on your collections, your categories, and definitely titles and tags. And then just getting your products out there because they're very cute. They're perfect, probably even now for in terms of coronavirus, because like families are looking for fun ways to entertain their kids because there's kids at home and they don't know what to do. So your cute little designs are perfect for this time. But as you said, you're not being found, and that's a specific reason, probably not because of your actual designs, but because of the setup and the way that you're posting your products.
And she also says, I marketed it on Facebook to people who like Hello Kitty and got lots of likes from my middle-aged women. I thought my designs would be great for kids like Hello Kitty, who like Hello Kitty. Okay, so here's the thing. The people who like Hello Kitty are Hello Kitty die-hard core fans. It's like Coke and Pepsi, right? You cannot compete with Hello Kitty, and Pepsi can never, ever, even though they're extremely successful, compete with Coke. Coke is Coke and Pepsi is Pepsi. So what you need to do is create your own Pepsi brand that's similar to Hello Kitty, but your own. And I think that's really important in terms of coaching. You'll have to do a little bit of outside work. We have a lot of coaching clients that do have their own unique artwork that they're building up as a brand. And you have to bring that traffic in, but not through Facebook ads. And you have to get them to want it, right? And if you're going against Hello Kitty, no wonder, because Hello Kitty is Hello Kitty fans, right? Yeah, so that you would be a perfect candidate for our VIP bonus experience that we give and offer as part of the Profit by Design Academy. So if you're interested, let us know. We can talk some more about it privately. But I wanted to go quickly back and finish this off. I wanted to give you a review of what we're going to do tomorrow. And also a very quick, we keep talking about this, Profit by Design Academy. Oh, and I have to get over here. Thank you. And share the screen. So I wanted to just explain what that means. Okay, so we've talked first of all about how to find your niche, and especially about how only you can offer certain skills and interests because of that's what you have to offer that no one else can offer. So then you don't have competition. And that's what Elizabeth was talking about, that she had a lot of competition. And rightly so. Hello Kitty is a very big brand to go up against. However, you have to create your own sweet spot and find your own customers that are not interested in Hello Kitty, but still want the concept of Hello Kitty. And so we are not only going to, we're going to finish this off here because we've had some really great discussions, but tomorrow I want you to have nailed down your niche. And we're going to have you post a few things in the Q&A at the beginning to see if you've finally nailed it down, because the next thing we want you to do, and again, this is a challenge, so every day you do work so that you can feel transformed by the end of the challenge, and you're going to open up a Zazzle store that's very specific to the niche that you decided. If you already have a Zazzle store, maybe what you're going to do is change the name so that you now learned something that you now realize is stopping you from having that perfect name. And even though you can't change the name of your store, we have a workaround for you for that, and we can teach you how to do that tomorrow. Okay, then we're gonna make sure, and while you're doing your homework, decide on your Zazzle name so that tomorrow in the Q&A, the first thing we're gonna do is go, what's your niche, what's your name, and we'll do a little assessment and critique for that. Okay, then we're going to show you a quick tutorial on how to open up your Zazzle store, which also means opening up your account. And if you're completely new watching this in the sidelines, because everybody here on the chat seems to already have a store and be way beyond that, that's okay. Then, but for anyone who is new and wants to hear that, we're going to go through how to open up your account and open up your first store. It's super important, and we want to make sure you don't miss that. Okay, and we kept talking about 2 courses. So we do have 2 courses available. If you just want to, if you liked what you heard today, I'm not going to go into any spiel, I'm just going to tell you what they are, and then you can go look at the website where all the information is, so you can enroll today. And just get started. You don't have to wait for the next 2 weeks while we're doing the 2 challenges to get the information. And 2 weeks is huge because in 2 weeks, you can definitely be done the e-commerce accelerator. It's a course that if you just want to try Zazzle out for anyone who's completely new and just see if it's for you and get the basics. And if you want to take your time and learn. And so there you can go to elkeclarke.com/start and you will see all the information for that. However, we recommend, and this is what we've done, we've put this course together, the Profit by Design Academy. It opens up only twice a year. This is one of those times, and it's a live presentation, like you're going to go through with videos as well as an 8-week live experience where we are doing things like we did today. We're coaching you, we're going in the Facebook Live, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. And it's for you if you want to start and scale your business to 5K a month or 5,000 a month fast. And in this time during coronavirus and change in economy, I'm sure that even if you have a Zazzle store and you've been working hard on your own, you're in a position where you don't want to do DIY anymore, right? We talked about that at the beginning. You can do DIY, maybe probably waste a lot of time doing things and failing, not being certain with what to do. And now here is an opportunity for you to have someone guide you through with a lot of training, a lot of support, community to ask questions, and you can have now the strategies, 5 strategies in particular, and also a roadmap, what to do with each strategy, how to put things into place. It's huge in terms of what people get when they go into this training, and they come out being extremely happy that they did that and realizing, oh, that's why it wasn't working. Now I get it. And now I have actually the roadmap to help me continue this and move forward. Okay, so the other thing we just wanted to let you know is both of these courses are open right now for enrollment. Mm-hmm. And there's a fast action. When we do one of these challenges, we like to give away bonuses. And so this is no exception. We gave away another amazing bonus the last time we did a challenge. This time for either one of these, if you purchase or get enrolled in the Profit by Design Academy at the elkeclarke.com/scale address, or the elkeclarke.com/start address, then you will get a very cool bonus. We're going to do a group Zazzle store audit, which is worth $500, but you have to enroll before midnight on Friday, and otherwise that goes away. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, tomorrow we're going to talk more about the courses in case you want to actually understand what's involved and get involved by enrolling. But today we just want to give you the fast action bonus option so that you know you want to get in before Friday, and I would highly recommend that. Mm-hmm. And we'll do a lot more than what we just did with Elizabeth in terms of your store audit. So that's, if you're interested in that, then that is well worth the just enrolling, because the courses are amazing anyway, but this is an extra bonus that's awesome. Tomorrow we're going to cover I'm going to ask you again to nail down your niche and what your store name was, and we're going to do an open your Zazzle store tutorial. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure you're here tomorrow. Please join us. We are here at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's, I think, that's it. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.